Good afternoon. I am Valerie L. Willis, candidate for United States Senate, Congress, Michigan, 2020. I approve this ad, and this ad paid for by the Willis for Congress Committee. Today is April 24th, and I would like to read to you a wonderful article written by a Mr. Robert Barnes, an American constitutional lawyer who represents clients in civil and criminal trials. And the title of the article is, "Do we really think it can't happen here in America? Could we quarantine the Constitution? Are we doing it already?" Panics from pandemics unleash unchecked governmental power. The very premise of popular films like V for Vendetta reveal this. A group uses a virus to seize power and create a totalitarian society. Anyone could witness this from far-off lands, watching the news about China locking people up in their own homes and then removing them, screaming, from those homes whenever they wanted. World War I and the Great Depression birthed virulent forms of government with leaders like Hitler, Mao, Mussolini, and Stalin. Governments across America are already using the pandemic and the media-stoked panic around the pandemic, particularly to limit, restrict, or remove First Amendment freedom of speech and free association with officials. And these officials are complaining about the potential restraints the freedom of religion imposed upon them. Others denied or declared the right to deny Second Amendment rights of a gun purchase for personal safety at a time when governments are issuing no arrest and no detention orders for a wide range of crimes in their community, while publicly freeing inmates from jails and prisons. They want to coordinate with tech companies to surveil and spy on your everyday movements and activities in violation of the Fourth Amendment and potentially waive unilaterally your medical right to privacy in multiple contexts. Stay-at-home orders deprive you of your profession, occupation, business, and property without any due process of law at all, beyond an executive fiat in violation of the Fifth Amendment, right to due process. Governments request the authority to involuntarily imprison any American on fear of infection without any probable cause of crime or clear and present danger of harm by that person's volitional conduct, deny access to personal counsel in an unsupervised, unsurveilled manner in violation of the Sixth Amendment, and act as judge, jury, and executioner in violation of the Seventh Amendment, right to trial by jury, as jury trials themselves get suspended around the country and the nation's quieted courts and fear-muted public. The real pandemic threat is here. It's the panic that will quarantine our Constitution. Is the First Amendment quarantined? Already, governments in America suspended the First Amendment. Freedom of millions of citizens with shut down stay-at-home curfew orders that prohibit obtaining a petition for a public protest or even being physically present for a public protest. Indeed, even meetings in more than 10 are prohibited by various governing jurisdictions within the United States. Yet in Michigan, in many government meetings, township, county, state, are being held in secret in violation of the Open Meetings Act. What are they doing? Surprising places like Missouri did so. Towns like Hartford did so. Maryland soon followed suit. The effect of the stay-at-home orders of New York, California, Nevada, Illinois, and Pennsylvania effectively achieved the same outcome. Other governing officials recognize the dubious lawlessness of these orders, but remain outliers or quiet. Remember the Hong Kong protests? Gone. Remember the Yellow Vest protests? Soon to be gone. Seen any protests on American streets today? A pandemic is here, Protests gone, Constitution quarantined. Is the Second Amendment quarantined? But that is not all. Under the guise of unnecessary businesses, emergency powers, or simply by furloughing or reducing staff in the background checks department, governments show the willingness to limit Second Amendment rights, as well as First Amendment protections. Mayors declare the right to ban gun sales. Governments declare no background check personnel to process a background check. Delaying gun sales indefinitely, and other governments simply shut down all gun sale businesses entirely. Most worrisome, this happens while government releases inmates into the streets and discuss releasing even more. And at a time issue no arrest and no detention orders from Philadelphia to Fort Worth for a wide range of criminals. Want to defend yourself? Give yourself a deep sense of personal protection that comes with gun ownership? For many, as the Second Amendment safeguards? Well, no luck. According to many of our governing overlords, a pandemic is here. Self-protection sacrificed, Constitution quarantined. Is the Fourth Amendment quarantined? Few protections are more American than the right to privacy against coerced, compelled, secretive, subversive invasion. The government operates like a virus in a case of a pandemic panic, infecting our minds and bodies, monitoring speech, association, and movement with tools of surveillance unthought of to the founders, coordinating with private companies, unrestrained by the Fourth Amendment. Why do you think NSA uses them to gather all your emails, conversation texts, and internet searches at the first stage? Governments use the panic about the pandemic, a panic the government itself, stoked with the aid of a compliant, complicit press, to waive your medical privacy and invade your personal privacy, looking for tools to monitor your every movement, associations, activities, and behavior. The watching eye in the sky can now be the Alexa in your home, the camera on your computer, the phone in your hand. A pandemic is here. Privacy ended. Constitution quarantined. Is the Fifth Amendment quarantined? The protection for our right to make a living arises in the Fifth Amendment, right to property, without deprivation by due process of law, and the obligation for the government to compensate any such takings. Yet governments across America did just that to millions of businesses, workers, and property owners, stripping them of their ability to make a living or even to engage in a free market of commerce by shutdown orders, curfews, and stay-at-home orders. The political and professional class, ensconced in its work-from-home environs, failed to appreciate the hardship this imposes on working people. No compensation, no substitution, no wages, no revenues. No opportunity, labor lost that can never be recovered, ever, while it leaves our economy teetering on the edge of a worst ever depression. The foundation of government is to protect the pursuit of happiness. Now all we get to pursue is Netflix and chill and hope miracles happen to pay next week's bills and pray the market doesn't crash like it did in 1929. A pandemic is here. Opportunity and property gone. Constitution quarantined. Conclusion? Our founders were intimately familiar with pandemics, viruses, and plagues, yet they did not allow any to suspend our constitutional liberties. Not one word in the Constitution about plagues or pandemics to allow the pandemic to exempt the government from any of our Bill of Rights. Why do our current courts allow it? Because the public is asleep at the wheel. Think the pandemic threatens to kill us all? A review of the data shows the pandemic is more panic than plague. Time to wake up. Maybe it is time, in the motto of V for Vendetta, to quote, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot, end quote. As that film's lead character well said, quote, people shouldn't be afraid of the government. Governments should be afraid of their people. Only when an awake public asserts their human liberties to protest the loss of their liberties will then governments quit using public health crises to seize power that does not belong to them. The answer to 1984 is still 1776. I, Valerie L. Willis, ask for your help. I need 100 people per county to join me now to stand up for the people of Michigan. You can either be silent and do nothing or stand up and walk with me. I hope you take care of your family. I wish you prosperity, freedom, and peace, but we will not have these things unless you help me. Thank you, and God bless.